Thanks for joining our book club. As a heads up, we will be talking about content that goes all the way to the end of the book. We mark this at about 15-20 minutes in. Thanks for listening. Just to give a quick preamble, we tried to do this recording 2 days ago, but we had breaking news on Bookalytics and it crashed my entire neighborhood's power line. And then I was without power. It was that breaking, like a meteor hitting Atlanta. And then we weren't able to record. And so we're not going to bring up the big news because we really need to get this recording. And I can't have another meteor come to my, can't risk it. So we're not going to talk about it. And we're going to get right into the book today because we are way behind.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's what a lead in.
I know.
Email in if you want to know what the breaking news was.
Yes. So let's do our intro.
Okay, here we go. So this is Bookalicious, a podcast where two sisters chat about books we're reading. I'm Chrissy.
And I'm Candice.
And today we are talking about The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. We're picking up on chapter 12. Summary of chapter 12. Arthur stops by Linus's house and he gifts him this record player. And he says that is all Lucy's idea. Linus loves the gift and thinks it's very sweet. Linus and Arthur end up chatting that night in Linus's house, and Linus mentions the idea of taking the kids out into the village. And Arthur's a little uncertain about it, but sounds like he's kind of open to the idea. Later, Linus gets a letter from Mr. Werner, who's one of the extremely upper management people. And in it, Mr. Werner says that he's concerned about Zoe, and Zoe being with the kids, and also requests greater detail from Arthur. And then at the end, they go on another adventure. They go on a picnic, actually, and Chauncey gets to choose the menu.
And he picks...
I forget.
Raw fish.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So we were thinking about tackling 2 chapters at a time. So do you also want to read chapter 13 or do you want to just go for chapter 12?
Chapter 13 has a lot in it.
Okay. So
Maybe
let's
just do 12 on its own.
All right, we'll do 12 real quick. So my only get a Klune is derision.
Oh, I think I had that one too. Did we do this on the last recording?
We did it before we did the big news and everything happened.
Oh gosh.
I know.
Because I thought it meant like divisive, but it didn't exactly mean that. It means like chiding or like a shaming, something like ridiculing. I think ridicule was the word.
I think so too. But it means, so the sentence is, my point is you did something remarkable for a boy who came to us only used to derision.
Ridicule sounds right.
Yep. And derision is contemptuous, ridicule, or mockery.
Wow. Okay. That's great. We're seeing in real time what my memory is like.
And that's really good.
Normally it's not that good though.
That's impressive.
I had to get a Klune too.
Ooh.
And the word is unabated.
When you abate someone, it's like aid and abetted. No, this is abated. Abate, I feel like means like I'm imagining like a dam, like you're closing something off. So unabated, I'm imagining you're like free to do whatever you want or something, maybe.
Yeah, I think it does sound like that because I'm kind of like vaguely familiar with the idea of the word, but I don't actually know what it means. I'm trying to find... Oh, okay, I found the sentence. The sentence is, material possessions tended to grow unabated when you least expected it.
Okay, what does abated mean? Abated, to reduce an amount, degree, intensity, lessen, diminish. To abate one's enthusiasm.
Okay, so
unabated, I think, would just mean the opposite.
Yeah. So it says unabated means it keeps on going without stopping or slowing down. Interesting. So if you abate something, you stop it. If you unabate it, it keeps going.
Yeah.
I don't think you unabate it though. I think is it just an adjective? Maybe it's not a verb. It's an adverb. Oh wait, no. It can be a lot of things.
Okay.
It's an adjective. You could also use it as unabatedly,
Okay.
which sounds pretty, that's a lot of syllables.
That is a lot.
So I think adjective is the main use.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other get a clunes?
That was the only one.
Okay. Me too. All right. Did you have any other ideas from this chapter? Things that you really liked, things that were weird?
I was kind of all of these memos that come from extremely upper management, it's very confusing as to like what they're asking and like what they're trying
Mm-hmm.
to get out of it. And with the Zoe Chapelwhite, um, he was asking like, is she involved with Mr. Parnassus romantically? Does she spend time alone with the children? It just kind of like, I guess knowing if she spends time alone with the children might be relevant, but I don't know. Like, why do they need to know that?
At this point, do we already know more of Arthur's backstory?
No.
Do we want to just jump ahead since we're doing the whole thing anyway? I think so.
All right. Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. We finished the book and we're going to talk about things that happen ahead. All right, go
Yeah.
for it.
Because is this going to be one episode or two? You're thinking.
Two.
Oh,
Whatever.
okay. Whatever. All right. So, what I was thinking is we learn later, if we haven't already, that Mr. Werner had been on the island before and that he and Arthur kind of had something going, right?
Yes.
Never super explicitly said, but that kind of is like what all they're strongly hinting at. And so it just seems like Mr. Werner's just being nosy. And he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I want to know what's going on with Arthur. Give me the tea."
Yeah. So that's what I took for it to mean after we know everything else. But in this point of time, I was kind of like, why is he interested in that?
It just all feels very strange. Like
Yeah.
Linus is writing it like a diary, and then they're asking for all the gossip. I'm like, what's happening here?
Yes. Yeah. And then it's like Charles Werner keeps like trying to plant seeds against Arthur. And he says, even the most charming of individuals have secrets.
Yeah, just none of
And
it seemed to fit.
no, it doesn't make sense. This Charles Werner, it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't really understand what his motivations are. Like, is he jealous? Does he miss Arthur? Does he want to destroy Arthur? I don't really get what his motivation is for like picking at this.
Yeah, that's a great question. By the end of the book, I think it'd be a good question to ask, would the book have been stronger if there wasn't a Mr. Werner side story?
Yeah.
I guess you could answer it now, but we can see.
Okay. Well, those were my only real thoughts about
This
that.
chapter.
Oh, since we're spoiling the book, there's foreshadowing, and this is about Parnassus. Just as he was about to turn Linus and shut something off, there was a bright flash of orange light through the window.
Oh,
Were you confused about that? Did you figure it out?
I didn't know what it was. I knew that
Yeah.
must be significant, but I didn't really know what it would be in reference to.
Yeah. I didn't either.
So, but yeah, some good foreshadowing. I had, let's see. Um, okay, I had two things. One, I at first thought that the record player actually wasn't from Lucy because maybe it was like a cover or something. Like he's like, oh, it's from Lucy because Arthur didn't actually want to say that he gave Linus a gift. But
Oh,
I guess not. In the end, that didn't turn out to be very important. I think it was actually just from Lucy.
yeah. I think the shtick about Lucy is that he's actually very sincere.
Yeah. So that's nice. Um, and then I did by the end of the chapter kind of feel like what you were saying in the last episode, where it's like it does feel a little weird for the relationship to be developing since Linus is evaluating all of them, and it's like, that's kind of strange. I don't know if it would have been better or worse for Arthur to have initiated it or for Linus to initiate it. I don't think it's great either way. I don't know if there's a better scenario.
There's just a weird power dynamic at play, especially with Linus, where he holds all the cards. And TJ gets into that later about is Arthur manipulating Linus?
Yeah.
Is he being sincere?
Yeah.
And I thought that was good because I had those same questions.
Yeah. All right. So in chapter 13, Linus updates extremely upper management on the kids. In part of his updates, he mentions how Zoe has really helped Fee control her powers, and also how there was very little on Sal, and Linus had no idea that he was abused before he came to the Cerulean Sea, and he was like, hey, why didn't you guys mention that? And then he talks about but the kids have grown so much, and it's really all because of Arthur. Linus wakes up in the middle of the night and he finds out, and he wakes up to his bed, like levitating in the air. And he's like, what's going on here? And so he goes out to investigate. And it turns out that Lucy is having a really bad dream. He's having a nightmare. And so when that happens, some of his powers kind of like just start doing their own thing. But then he's able to go in and see Arthur comfort Lucy and kind of like bring him out of his nightmare. As Lucy wakes back up, he notices that in all of this hullabaloo, some of his records have been broken, and Linus is like, oh, we should fix those. And there's a record store in the city, so we could actually go there. Actually, Arthur proposes that. He says, hey, we could actually go to the city and buy new records. And then that's basically it. Linus and Arthur kind of have another moment at the end again.
Okay, so I have a get a Klune.
Ooh.
I highlighted it. We talked about this before, so let's see how good your memory is. She preened.
Oh, no, I'm so glad I know what that word is now because it comes up so much. She like primped herself.
Okay, good.
Made herself happy or pretty.
Okay. Flagellation.
That's like self-flagellation, right? Like you're like whipping yourself kind of thing.
Yeah, but what does flagellation mean?
Isn't it like squirm around like a flagella? Do you know
I'm
what a
imagining
flagella
like a
is?
flogging.
Well, but I think a whip flagellates. Because I think it is like flogging.
All right, well, you want to hear the definition?
Yeah.
Flogging or beating, either as religious discipline or for sexual gratification.
Oh, don't like that. Okay, so that's what flagellate means?
Yes. And so when you self flagellate, then you do it to yourself.
Okay. But did you look to the right and see what a flagellate is? A cell or organism with one or more whip-like appendages called flagella.
Well, yes.
And in fact, the origin comes from the Latin word flagellate, which means whipped.
Oh,
So yeah, flogging and whipping all seem to be
in that wheelhouse.
okay, but it doesn't really mean to squirm, which is the initial meaning I thought of flagellate.
Yeah. It's more of like the whipping. The whipping.
Okay.
Those are the only ones I had.
Good to know. Yeah, I didn't have one from this chapter, although I did notice preen.
I had a couple funny lines.
Ooh, what were they?
Lucy's having his nightmare. All the kids are worried that Linus is going to write that down in his notes.
Yeah.
And so they're worried that something's going to happen to Lucy. And so they're all trying to defend him. And Chauncey, he's like, because they're like, oh, it doesn't happen that often. This is that. And then Chauncey's like, that doesn't mean he's bad. Chauncey warbled, eyes darting around. He just shakes things like our rooms in the entire house. I was like, Chauncey, I love you. Your warbly eyes.
Honestly, all the kids are really great. I'm a big fan of them. What was your other funny line?
Well, the reason why I mentioned the poisoned fish is because let me see what this is in context too. Oh, this is in Linus Baker's report to the department. And so he's talking about all the kids and all these things. And he's talking about Theodore and how nice he is. And he says, yesterday, after I recovered from a bout of food poisoning brought upon by ingesting raw fish, he came alone to the guest house where I resided and asked if he could show me part of his hoard. And I was like,
That's what happened with the raw fish.
mm-hmm.
I did really like that in his report because he said, I was asked to add more detail about Mr. Parnassus, and here's what I learned. And then he immediately starts describing all the kids. And at the end, he wraps it up and he's like, you may think I haven't told you about Mr. Parnassus, but actually, all of these like incredible things that the kids are able to do and all the growth they've had is only because of Mr. Parnassus. So, in that way, I'm showing, not telling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
thought that was
Linus,
sweet.
I thought that was sweet too. Linus questions about these guidelines, mentioning that they'd been written decades ago and never updated. And he's like, how am I supposed to enforce these rules that haven't changed with additional information?
Wait, so you're saying that the rules haven't changed, like they're not up to date. They need to be revised.
Right. Like they were written 40 years ago when magical creatures were first being documented. I'm assuming they didn't know anything about them. Now it's
Yeah.
been 40 years and you're going to be following the same rules. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, I was gonna say, have you heard the line? Oh, it's something like the system works like how it's made to work or something. Meaning that like if it isn't working well, it's like, well, it's because that's the way the system is set up. It's for it to not work
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. I don't know that particular saying that you're mentioning, but that does make sense. Do you have any lines?
I don't really have any lines from here.
Okay. I had just had like one more from
Okay.
Chauncey. So Chauncey in relation to Mr. Baker, Chauncey waved at him. I like your pajamas. I like that callback because those are his special pajamas that he got for working there for 15 years.
In my mind, Linus only has two pairs of clothing. It's like his normal clothes that he wears to work every day, and then his one set of pajamas.
That's exactly right. Until he gets his safari gear. He gets like a new mod installed in his sim.
Like, how do you do that much laundry?
Yeah.
Gotta wake up in the middle of the night or something.
Chauncey's always doing it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. He's on top of it.
And then after that, Mr. Baker says, thank you. That's very, would you put your arm away? You don't get tips for paying compliments. Chauncey sighed and dropped his tentacle.
I really love the bellhop thing.
I love it.
Such a, yeah, so creative. I want to know how he got the idea.
Yeah. So did you find, oh, go for it.
No, you ask your question.
I was going to say, did you find the romantic interactions between Linus and Arthur sweet, cute, or cringe?
I feel like by the time I finished the book, I was like, wow, that was a good way to write a relationship because it didn't feel over the top. It felt very subtle.
Yeah.
I didn't find it cringy.
I didn't either. It didn't feel like Sanderson with Serene, like over the top.
What did you call it?
Sanderson with Serene.
Oh, Sanderson. I heard say it or sin.
Oh,
And I was like, that's that what we called it? But no, cute or cringe. But yeah.
yeah. I thought it was really cute too.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's slow. Yeah, it's not over the top. Yeah. So I thought it was cute. So there's one point where Lucy wakes up and his records are all broken, and then Linus has this nice thing where he's like, hey, well, we can put it together. And he's like, when it's broken, it doesn't mean that it's no longer useful, but you can, repair it and it'll be different, but it'll be so good. And which I thought was a really nice line. But I do feel like at some point around this time, maybe in the last chapter, maybe in some of the chapters coming up, I just felt like there's a lot of like really long monologues of them like, this is what's good in the world and this is what you should believe kind of thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've heard this a lot already in this book.
Yes.
And at that point I was like, oh my goodness, this is too much. But what did you think?
I agree. I think this book, someone on Goodreads said this is like 100 pages too long. And I agree. I think
Yeah.
TJ got his points across and he just belabored it a little too long. But something he did that other books haven't done is that I felt like he landed the plane really well.
The ending was really good.
Yeah. So
That's
I feel like the middle is actually the weakest part of the entire book.
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And I think it's because it's a little too long, so it drags.
Yeah, they could have just cut out the middle. Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Not cut out the middle, but trimmed it down.
Yeah.
Like Linus's spare tire around his middle. I only say that because Linus always says that.
I know. Do you think, because in other books, when they've mentioned characters who are overweight, we're like, oh my gosh, they're so fat phobic. Did you get that feeling from this book?
Um, I didn't. I got it more of like Linus had some self-hatred for
Mm.
himself, but no one else ever commented on his weight in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll notice, like Talia says something, but she's like, I'm round, you're round, just making it like an observation, not as something bad. And Arthur says frequently, like, I like you just the way you are. So to me, it didn't feel like that.
Yeah. And I guess you're right. I guess we see the development or the progression because in the beginning, I think that is more of a focal point where it's like, oh, I bump into the desks and like he looks in the
Mm-hmm.
mirror and he's like, oh man, I could lose a spare tire. But by the end, we see that he's bumping into things and he's like, I don't care. This is who I am. So I guess that is kind of like a signal or a sign maybe of how Linus views himself, not just
Mm-hmm.
physically, but also emotionally.
Yeah.
No, I guess that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. But the timer went off. So
All right.
say goodbye to chapter 13.
Moving on.
Chapter 14.
Chapter 14. Okay, so this is when they get to the village and everybody goes on their adventures. So they have Linus and Zoe and Arthur, and they each get two kids with them. And Linus thankfully got matched up with Lucy and Talia. And he's like, are you sure? Like, could I get anyone else? But those are the ones he get. And then all the kids kind of go off to follow their own interests. And so Talia, in my mind, she saw like Home Depot and she's like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
my dream. She goes into Home Depot and she starts looking at all the garden tools, super excited. And then they meet someone named, we don't meet, they meet Helen, who gets kind of revealed
Mm-hmm.
later of who she is. But she works at the hardware store and they start talking about Talia's garden. And Helen is at first kind of taken aback that there's these magical creatures in her store. But then she kind of like pulled herself together and she's like, oh, okay, we can talk about gardens. And then eventually says she would love to see Talia's garden on the island.
Mm-hmm.
So that was Tally's adventure. And then Lucy wants to go to the record store where he hits it off with, was it J Bone? Yeah, it was J Bone. Who's who's like the teenager who works behind the counter. They start talking about music, and then the other worker, Marty, goes back to the back store or whatever to find Lucy his records. But while he's there, he starts trying to exercise Lucy. And Lucy's like, hey, that's mean. And so then he like pummels Marty against the wall and is like, don't try to exercise people. And then J-Bone's like, wow, you're so cool. Have these records for free. And so then Lucy has a happy ending. Um, and then all the kids meet up and to get ice cream. Um, and at first, the ice cream guy refuses to serve them. But then Helen, the lady from Home Depot, she comes and she's like, hey, I'm actually the mayor and I demand that you serve them. And it turns out Helen also worked at the ice cream parlor when she was a teenager. So she knows how to scoop ice cream. And so then she serves them. And they all get to know each other and they're like, yeah, Helen, you need to come to the island. She's like, yes, I would love to. Sorry, it's taken me so long. And then at the very end, our Linus goes on his special adventure, which is to the post office to see what his update is from extremely upper management. And he gets a letter and it says, we want to show you what Arthur's truly capable of. And it has this sealed envelope and he's not sure if he should open it or not. So he just kind of changes his mood for the rest of the night.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of it.
Yeah, this was a long chapter. I have a couple good clues, but I also have a couple broader questions for you.
Let's
So
start with the Get a Clune.
okay. So the first one is trowel. This is a trowel, Talia said.
Like a shovel, right?
I think so. But I had never heard that word. It's a small handheld tool. Yeah, so it's like a little hand shovel.
Okay.
Okay. I had another one. This is a very long chapter.
It is.
Yeah. I know this one verse from context clues, but I don't know what it means on its own. People were giving them a wide berth and staring openly.
Oh. Yeah, I know like wide margin.
Mm-hmm.
But what does berth actually mean? I think just like the wideness.
So a berth is a ship's allotted place at a wharf or a dock.
Oh, okay.
So to give someone a berth, you avoid or stay away.
Like a wide parking spot.
Yeah. Big enough for a ship.
A really big parking spot.
And then I had this isn't a get a clune, but this is just a would you rather? Would you rather have ice cream cone or ice cream bowl?
Oh my gosh. Maybe a bowl because the cone, I feel stressed like I need to eat it really quickly before it all melts on my hand.
I know.
I want the cone on the side.
You want cone crumbles.
Yeah. Sprinkle them on top.
I think I like eating ice. I like licking ice cream.
You
Like
could do that a
the
spoon.
I know, but you can't get like the full rotation of the cone. And then if you have two
Yeah.
different flavors, it's just it doesn't work as well.
So you do cone.
I think I'm a cone girl.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I live on the edge with the drippage.
It's risky.
It is risky. Okay, so my question for you is what is your thought on the development of Helen throughout the rest of this book? Or even in this chapter? Let's start with this chapter.
Maybe a little fast. I mean, still maybe the same thing. Maybe a little bit fast. Maybe a little bit like, oh, that's really convenient that there's someone who's just wants to visit the island and she's been waiting for you to come. At this point in the book, there's another scene that really made me think of this, but I felt a little bit like we were in Lessons of Chemistry world where it's like, oh wow, everything's working out perfectly.
Yeah.
How how fortuitous for you that
Yeah.
everyone is on your side all of a sudden. And so I kind of felt like that with Helen.
I felt like that with Helen a lot. I felt like she was the weakest character written. And because it's like she starts off being scared or like unsure of the children, and within the same afternoon, and I guess what TJ is trying to show is like just having like a connection with someone can like change your mind, which is very true. But it seems, like you said, very like convenient that she was able to turn around her whole mindset, a middle-aged woman, based on one interaction on an afternoon, you know?
Yeah. And like I guess she's been living there for a long time, so she's maybe had a lot of time to think about it. And it kind of sounds like maybe she was on the edge. So maybe what TJ's trying to show is like there's people at all different levels of like acceptance or something. And so you have people who maybe need a whole month of living with, the children to really get to know them and to like feel like he fully accepts them. Or sometimes you meet people who are kind of like on the edge and all it takes is one more little push and now they're there. I don't know.
That could be. It's also confusing though, because it sounds like like when Arthur was a kid, he used to go to the island and she would give him ice cream. So
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
it's like they kind of make it sound like she's never seen the kids, or like she's never seen magical children, but it seems like she used to in the past. I don't know, something with that.
Yeah, I don't think they ever do really explain that, right?
I don't think so.
Because when we learn Arthur's backstory, did they used to go to the island?
Yeah, because I think she says even here, like, oh, cherry's your favorite ice cream.
Right.
Like they know each other.
So she saw multiple magical kids.
Yeah, it's not like Talia was the first magical kid. I mean, unless maybe
Yeah.
Arthur showed up and she didn't know he was magical.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
That
Was
could
where
be
they hidden?
possible.
Because if he was the only one, then that could be possible. If it was everybody, though,
Hmm.
But that might be also why she was more on the edge or like closer to, she just needed like a little motivation to visit the island because she's like, I am familiar with magical creatures. It's just been a while. So,
Yeah.
and like maybe she wanted to do something about it, but didn't really know what to do. I don't know. But yeah, overall, it just feel a little too quick, a little unbelievable.
Yeah.
My other lessons in chemistry moment was when Linus was um at the ice cream store and Norman is like, I'm not gonna serve you guys, you're freaks. And then Linus gets up there and he like has this whole like diatribe to Norman. Oh wait, shoot. No, that wasn't what I was thinking of. Oh, okay, sorry. I'm gonna pick up right there because that is what I was thinking of.
Okay.
So he has like this whole like diatribe to Norman is like, this is what I think, and like you can't treat us that way. We're people too, and we deserve dignity. And it just kind of felt like this is like the dream scenario of what you've always wanted to say to someone who was inconsiderate and not accepting. And like here was like the perfect response you've always wanted to say. And kind of similar to how Elizabeth Zott was like, here's like the dream scenario I'd want to have as a woman in science.
Yes.
And yeah. And I was just like, I don't know. I mean, it's nice, but I felt a little pulled out of the story.
Yeah, you start entering into like, I mean, I know it's fantasy and stuff, but you start entering like, this is unbelievable. It sounds like these townspeople are just like goobs. And like maybe that's what it is
Yeah.
like they're a bunch of ignorant dum-dums, which, very possible. But everyone else is written so well.
Yeah. That was one of my kind of like, I don't know, complaints, but maybe this is what he was going for. Like, I don't think he was trying to write really in-depth villain characters, but everyone in the village is just so weak, where
Yeah.
it's like they're like silly.
Yes.
And maybe that's what he's trying to do. But it was like the whole takeaway of this felt like there's no real conflict.
Yeah, I was gonna say it makes it feel like low stakes.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
these are a bunch of
They're
like
fools.
idiots. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
And so we first see that with Norm.
I definitely agree with that. There was something that happened and I can't seem to find it. Maybe I didn't underline it, but I'm probably getting into too much detail. But Linus basically, with each of the children, he is able to give them this like comforting advice as each one of them faces adversity. And one of them that I really liked was with Sal. He got really nervous and he turned into a dog. And so then he's like naked, basically, because now he's not in his clothes. So Linus helps him get into the bathroom with all of his stuff. And Linus says, if you ever feel scared like this again, there's no shame in changing as you have, so long as you remember to find your way back. And I thought that was just so nice because, he's very anxious and I'm very anxious. And it's really like the perfect thing to say to someone when they're having like crisis.
Yeah. I thought that was a really sweet speech. Everything he said to Sal is like, oh, that's so
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
he
I did
had an
like.
interaction like that with each of the children.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I cut you off
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. No, I don't really have anything else to say. But yeah, TJ Klune does a really good job of writing, like, yeah, that is exactly what I'd want to hear in that situation.
Yeah, I literally wrote in one of my notes about Helen feels unbelievable. So I had this one interaction between Arthur and Linus, and I thought it was really nice. Arthur shook his head slowly. I don't know why you can't see it. Linus, see what? Arthur, you, everything you are. And I wrote in my notes, this is the first person who sees Linus
Oh yeah.
because he mentions in the beginning that like no one sees him.
Yeah. Oh, that is sweet. I didn't pick up on that.
So I thought that was really nice. Okay, so Linus does read the memo about Arthur.
Okay. Is that the whole? So you read the whole thing? I think you might be right. Oh no, you
Yeah,
got the cover letter.
the cover letter.
Yeah, but there's another envelope in there.
Oh, okay. So Mr. Warner is now writing back to Linus and he says a couple of things that I'm like, this is weird. This
Yeah.
this part I was like is normal. He says, we would caution you against like getting too close to Mr. Parnassus. People will say and do anything they can in order to appease those in power. And I was like, that's good advice. But then later on, he's saying something like, we underestimated how you'd be so susceptible to Mr. Parnassus, seeing as you're unmarried.
What?
And I wrote Crazy Town.
Yeah, that I wrote we're on a spaceship. Like, where did this come from? This seems so out of place.
Like, what? Like, this isn't relevant.
Yeah. Yeah, that felt so weird. And maybe it's because Linus has been treating it like his personal diary, to where they feel like they're on this level now with him. But let me give you some personal advice. We know you're all alone. So yeah, so the letter, I thought, I was like, this seems really like out there and out of place. But I did appreciate the twist at the end where they're like, here's a key. There's a secret about Mr. Parnassus. And then I was like, okay, fine, I'm back on board.
I thought this whole thing was weird. And when they had the key, I wrote, why are they obsessed with Arthur? Like,
Good point.
like it's so weird because it's like, why did they even send him here? Are they trying to close down the orphanage because Charles Werner has like a vendetta against Arthur?
Well, I was still thinking that Charles Werner was Talia's father somehow because they both had
Okay.
big teeth.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that could make sense why he's really invested on, are these kids safe and
Mhm.
who is Arthur? But I don't know.
I
It's still
yeah.
weird.
And I feel like this is why like the middle part is so hard because it's like the beginning's about Linus, the end is about Linus and Arthur, but the middle has all of this Charles Werner and extremely upper management in it. And their motivation for all of this is by the end of the book, to me, it's unclear.
Hmm.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I think the motivation kind of makes sense because they want to know, should the orphanage stay open? And a big part of that is the leader a good leader? So I think it's kind of weird though that they didn't just tell Linus this all up front. Why did they need to bring in the marriage thing? That's
Yeah.
weird.
I guess the obsession with Arthur to me doesn't make sense. Like, what is Charles like getting at? Does he think it should be closed down and the other bigwigs think that it should be fine? And so he's trying to convince Linus.
Yeah, because what he's saying now isn't really even helping the case of like, should the orphanage be closed or not? Is Arthur a good leader or not? It's like, don't date Arthur. You don't even know who he is. And it's like, why did you bring that up? Who mentioned
Yeah,
that?
I agree.
Yeah, so it didn't feel very seamless. Like it
No.
felt very much like we need a plot point, and here it is.
Yeah, we need to get you this key. How am I going to get you this key?
Yeah,
I'll
Charles
mail
Werner.
it to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
easy.
Well, we're at
Yeah.
time for this chapter. So, any more comments?
No, but something that we could think about is, could this whole plot have happened without Charles Werner? Where I think we're on the ex Charles Werner wagon. Could he have found the key like in his desk or something?
I think I think Charles Werner, I think it could happen with Charles Werner, but not with a weird vindictive Charles Werner. Like maybe they could have just said, Mr. Baker, your correspondence seems that you are not staying impartial per rules and regulations. We would, you know, advise you to please amend your reports to reflect as such.
That would sound reasonable.
You know, keep it more like stiff.
Yeah. I wonder though if that's he's just still trying to be in like the humorous, whimsical type of tone to where it's like this is and like extremely upper management is just always outrageous to where now they're giving him advice on his marriage and like romantic life and it's just like what? So maybe it's supposed to be crazy,
It could be.
but it just felt crazy in a different way to where it didn't fit.
It felt, yeah, it was spaceship. TJ,
Yeah.
we're taking off. We've left NASA.
We're beginning our ascent.
We're beginning the ascent. but it takes a turn. It takes a turn.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay, chapter 15.
Chapter 15. Okay. So Linus has this file that he still hasn't opened yet. He's not sure, like, should I open it? Should I not? Who knows? But he has the key. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna check out the cellar. So he goes to the cellar, and he starts walking in and he notices that there's tick marks on the wall, like someone has been counting something. And then who appears at the top of the stairs but Arthur? And what did the scene remind me of? But the housemaid. What if Arthur just slams the door and locks Linus in there? But that's not what happens. Arthur says, oh, yes, it's been a long time since I've been here. And we learn that Arthur is a magical creature. He is a phoenix, and he grew up on this island and in this orphanage. But the master of his orphanage was abusive and terrible and locked Arthur in there because he couldn't control his fire or something. Was that it? Something like that. It was a fireproof room.
Yeah, I think he was like sometimes, he was just learning and sometimes fireballs would come out.
You know,
Yeah.
sometimes it happens. Oh, you know what? Okay, so actually, the master was abusive, and Arthur decided to write a letter to Dicamy and say, hey, this is what's going on here. You guys should fix it. But the master realized that and he intercepted the letter, and then he locked Arthur into the cellar. And the cellar was fireproof, so Arthur tried to burn his way out, but it didn't work. And he was in there for 6 whole months, which is when the orphanage finally was shut down. And then out of a combination of possibly guilt and also wanting to keep Arthur quiet, Dicamy puts Arthur in charge of the orphanage. So, and also the kids don't know that Arthur is magical.
Right. And Linus has internal turmoil throughout this chapter of just wondering, like, who's trying to manipulate me?
Yeah.
And I thought that was very believable.
I thought it was believable, but I also thought it was a little weird because there's never been any hint of that before this moment. On the one hand, he had no reason to think Arthur would be manipulating him. Although he kind of did because Linus was still in charge of writing the report. I feel like any romantic advance could be questionable. But he also has never thought that Dicamy was trying to manipulate him. So I think it would have been more believable if there are kind of seeds of this along the way of Linus being like, oh, Dicamy's trying to, make me think one thing, but I need to follow my intuition or whatever.
Well, I think there was seeds planted along the way from Charles Werner.
I guess so.
Because in just the last chapter, he says, we would caution you against your impartiality, Mr. Baker. People will say and do anything they can in order to appease those in power.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess we never saw Linus really accept that though, to where it was like,
it.
Is he just brushing that off? Is it nothing?
I don't know why him being a phoenix and being locked in a cellar for 6 months would make Arthur seem more manipulative, though. That part to me doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because before he found out he was a phoenix, he was totally fine with it. Then he finds out he was a phoenix and he was abused. And now he's like, are you trying to manipulate me?
Yeah. Well, I think it's more so just he doesn't even know who Arthur is. And he's like, wow, I thought I knew you pretty well, but now there's this giant secret you've been hiding from me. What else have you been hiding from me?
I guess that's true.
But still, yeah, you're right. It is kind of weird. What I want to know is what's the Charles Werner backstory? And we need another book on that because it sounds like something happened with Charles where Charles is like, oh, yeah, Arthur can't be trusted. It's like, what happened? He seems so pleasant.
Yeah. So it's like, so this is Arthur's perspective. And he says, Charles, let's talk about Charles. He used me, I think, to get him, Charles, what he wanted, where he wanted. I was younger then, enamored, foolish, though you wouldn't have been able to convince me. I thought it was love. I can see now it wasn't. So what was Charles getting out of this? Like, he made him in charge of this orphanage, I think as an experiment or something, and that got him like a promotion, but like, didn't Arthur want to do this?
I don't know. Maybe Charles. Okay, so what exactly was Charles' role again? Do we know? Did
I
he put
think
Arthur in
he
charge?
I think he was a Linus or
Okay.
something.
So maybe he said he was going to stay, but then he was actually just using all this to get a promotion and he left.
I don't know. I guess that's where I'm kind of like, TJ, you spent so much time on all these things, and why don't I know this?
Yeah. I agree. This is something where there's like a lot of big jumps and it didn't fully make sense. And I think that would have been nicer to flesh out.
Yeah, I agree. But it did make me feel really sad for Arthur. Like, what a horrible life.
That was really sad.
And it's really nice how he, like, because he burned down the original mansion, I think, because he was so upset.
He did?
I think so. At some
I don't
point.
remember that, but maybe.
Maybe it wasn't the whole thing, but
Yeah, maybe he burned down part of it.
I think he burned down like part of it or something because when he came out of hiding, or not hiding, when he came out of his solitary confinement.
You might be
But
right.
then he was able to like remake that horrible place for him something good and make it a home.
Yeah, I mean that's really sweet. I really like that idea of redemption. I don't like this was a place of torture, but now I've made it, like you said, into a home.
So here's something that Arthur says. He says, when I went to Dicamy with the idea of reopening the Marcius orphanage, I could see the greed in their eyes. Here they could keep track of me. Here they could send others who they thought were the most dangerous. They assigned Charles to me, telling me he would help get things in order. He did, but to his own end. Zoe tried to warn me, though I chose not to believe her. And I'm like, what did he do?
I mean, I feel like part of it has to be Charles said he was going to stay and he was like helping get the whole everything in order. But actually, he was sending letters back and being like, hey, I did all these things. I need a promotion. And then he got the promotion and he left.
Yeah,
That's what I'm explaining it as, but maybe it's something more.
I don't know.
Would that be enough for Arthur to feel so? I mean, that could be hurtful if you think someone's going to stay and then they leave.
I mean, I guess, but using implies that if he wasn't having this like extramarital affair, well, not this extramarital affair, but this affair with him, then he wouldn't have done it. But it's like Arthur wanted to open the orphanage anyway. And it sounds like Charles did help him get things in order. So I don't know how he used him.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's unclear, unlike many other things in this book.
Yeah, and then Arthur's like, "Oh, Dicamy let me open the orphanage because they were worried that like if I went out to the public with all the abuse that I endured, that they would get in trouble. And so they were trying to use it as like a manipulation tactic." And I'm like, would people care
Yeah, that's a
based
good
on this
question.
world?
Yeah.
Like,
Also, what about all the other kids who've also been super abused? I mean, Arthur seems pretty terribly abused, but it sounds like there's also a lot of other people who are abused. And are they worried about them
right.
getting out? Although the fact that Arthur was writing a letter to Dicamy, I think does show that he had some maybe more level of independence or just like gumption to get things done that maybe other
Mm-hmm.
kids don't have. Like that's kind of beaten out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were maybe just more worried about him. Also, he can light himself on fire. It's a concern.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, I thought it was really sweet though towards the end. Linus has been saying like, "Oh, what if you're using me?" And Arthur says, would never do that." And Arthur says, "I promise you the thought of using you for anything has never crossed my mind. You're too precious to put into words. I think it's like one of Theodore's buttons. If you asked him why he cared about them so, he would tell you it's because they exist at all." That's
Oh,
such a sweet line.
I know, baby.
Sweet, sweet.
My takeaway from chapter 15 is that Arthur needs to go to therapy. He has some unresolved issues going on for good reason, but he's not making 100% sense. So he needs to get those those thoughts straightened out there. But his relationship with Linus and with the children is, I think, what makes this book good.
Yeah, the relationships are like you said. That's a strong point of this book. We need a prequel about Charles Werner and how did he father Talia?
Okay, so we are at chapter 16. Is this our breaking point? And then we do 17, 18, 19, and epilogue next time? Or are we going to do chapter 16 too?
We'll be going for let's do chapter 16 and then switch.
Okay.
Although great. Chapter 16 and 17, are they pretty... 17's not super long, right?
No, I think it's starting. We've hit the climax and now we're starting to go down the mountain.
You want to do 16 and 17 together then?
Yeah, let's try it.
Okay. Chapter 16. Okay, so chapter 16, this is Linus's last week. But of course, some trouble is amiss. I think it's like the second to last day or something there. Zoe comes up and says, hey, there's a mob. And he goes, what? And so it turns out all the townspeople are upset that the magical kids came to a village the other day. And so now they want to cross the river and who knows what to the house. So Zoe and Linus and Arthur, they all drive her car across the water, and they go to the mob. And then Linus has this big speech where he says, how could you guys do this? So Linus is giving his big speech. Someone throws a rock. It hits Arthur or almost hits Arthur. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Someone throws a rock and then Arthur turns into a phoenix to protect everybody. And then no one has seen him do that before. So everyone's like, oh my gosh, what? But in the end, they're able to tell the townspeople hey, you guys are being crazy. You don't have a leg to stand on. These are just kids. And then the townspeople disperse. Helen comes and says there will be legal consequences if anyone tries to get violent. The townspeople disperse, and then Arthur and Linus go back to the island.
Mm-hmm.
And then chapter 17, it's Linus's last day. Everyone's like, hey, can you stay? And he goes, no, I need to go back home. So now everyone's sad and angry. But Zoe drives him back and is like, fine, leave the beautiful place that you love so much. And he waits for his train.
Yes. And Arthur asks Linus to stay.
Yes.
And Linus says, I gotta go. Toodles.
Toodles.
Okay, so I have a get a Klune.
Ooh, what is it?
Consternation. He'd never been the intimidating sort, much to his consternation, but he wasn't about to allow these people to do whatever had gotten stuck in their heads.
It's much to your upsetness, much to your dismay, chagrin.
I have no idea.
Consternation.
I don't think I've ever.
I feel like when it's
feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, feelings of anxiety or dismay. Typically, it's something unexpected.
Oh, okay. Consternation. Okay.
Traipsed.
Oh, it's a type of walking. You traipse down the hall, right?
Yeah, I imagine it to be like skipping.
Yeah, something like that.
But let's see. Walk or move wearily or reluctantly. Okay.
Oh.
That was not what I was thinking. I was imagining like a whimsical.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Do you have any more?
See.
I have one.
Oh, those were the ones I had.
Oh, excellent. Mine it's Scion, I think. Scion.
I know there's a car called Scion, and I feel like it has like a windmill machine.
Oh.
So I feel like it's a propeller.
Could be. Let me try to find the sentence. I should start underlining these.
I already looked it up.
Wait.
Sorry.
I didn't even find it.
I thought we did it.
Find it. Okay, does it mean windmill?
No.
Okay,
but the Scion car does look like a windmill.
Okay, man. Well, if I could find the sentence, that maybe would help. Okay, I wrote down the page number. I need to start underlining them. Oh, I found it actually. So, In the mob, someone's holding a sign that says, "Yes, I was injured by the scion of the devil. Ask me how." And it's Marty from the record shop wearing a neck
Oh my
brace.
God. Okay. So what do you think it means?
Like the pitchfork, maybe?
No.
Weapon?
Descendant child,
Oh.
especially from a wealthy aristocratic or influential family. An heir, in a sense.
Oh,
That's a good one.
fast. That is a good one. Wow. So if there's a kid who's especially troublesome.
Yes. There was a line that made me laugh with Marty, who had the neck brace. And Helen's like, "You're not even injured. Like, that's my neck brace that I had." And he's like, "No, it's not. I went to the doctor and he gave it to me after telling me that my spine was mostly powder and I was lucky to be alive." And Linus is like, "That I believe you would be spineless." And I was like, "Bah, bah."
Yeah. Wah, wah. I did think that was funny, but this is kind of the point where I was like, this is the best you got for a
I know.
villain.
Like a small little rundown town with little signs.
Yeah. And it was just like so easily resolved,
Mhm.
all in all. Like, kind of what I was kind of feeling at this point was that nothing really bad actually happens in this story. Everything's kind of already been resolved because it seems like there have been bad things in the past, but nothing really in the present. Seems like it's kind of like the adventures that kids take on every Saturday. Like it's all
Yeah.
kind of pretend.
Yeah.
Very easily to
Yes.
overcome.
I would agree with that. There were like a couple of like really nice lines, things that if you're the type of person who would print quotes and hang them up in your house, you would probably print out. I was gonna see if I could pull one out. But Linus and Arthur, they're like full blown, we are into each other. So they're like holding hands and like hugging each other and, being really sweet with each other.
Yeah. There's this one line when they're about to start driving where Arthur goes, "Do you trust me?" And Arthur goes, "Of course. How could I not?"
Aww.
Which is cute, but also as like we just had a whole scene of you not trusting him. It seems like a quick switch from one to the next. But okay.
Like, we don't have time to resolve conflict.
Apparently not.
Okay, cringe or cute. Without a second thought, Linus reached up and cupped Arthur's face. His skin was hot, but Linus wasn't afraid of being singed and blackened. Arthur would never allow it.
I thought this was all cute, but I also thought most of Elantris was
I thought
cute.
this was cute.
And I also thought Fault in Our Stars was cute.
I thought this was cute. It's like it's approaching like too far, but I think with the rest of this book, it feels good. Okay, let's jump to 17 and try to knock that out because we've only been talking about 16.
Okay.
Oh, did you have
Fine.
more
I have one
on
last
here? Go for it. Go for it.
I have just one last thing. Okay, so all the villains are so weak in this chapter where it's like, okay, so easily resolved. And my thought is this saying that their anger had nothing to stand on? As in, like, once you actually start poking out, like, why are you upset at this? Then it all falls apart because it's actually not an argument? Or is it just bad writing? Or maybe just, the writing choices he was making.
I like what you're saying, where it's like when you actually like write out the argument, it just falls apart because it's so ridiculous. And now that you've said that, it makes me like it a lot more. But I think it still could have it still felt like a cartoon kind of. And they're like huffing and
Mhm.
puffing and they like, blow the town down, or I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It didn't feel like it fit with the rest of the book. But I do
Yeah.
like what you're saying, where it's like all they do is like ask a couple of like reasonable questions, and then immediately the townspeople are like, well, because we said so.
You're right. Yeah.
And
I
oh, go
mhm.
for it.
I said I had that thought and I still just didn't feel great about the scene. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Like feels like out of
Yeah.
place. But I think in a charitable read, I think that could be the reason behind it.
I'd agree with that. Okay, 17. Now we're in the last adventure.
Yeah. I actually don't have any notes for chapter 17. Do you have anything?
Um,
You want to share some of your top 2 takeaways?
I don't have anything. I have like a lot of things where I was like, oh, this is nice. This is cute. It's just a lot of like wrapping up the relationships. And I feel like you can really see how Arthur is in conflict of leaving, you know?
Right. Yeah. He's really sad to go, but he feels like he needs to.
Yeah. He's like, I can't just stay here. He's like, there are rules to follow, regulations. And so it's like, to hell with your rules and regulations. And he's like, life doesn't work that way. And then she says, why doesn't it? Why can't life work whatever way we want it to? What's the point of living if you only have to do it how others want you to? And I thought that was really good because it's like, how often do you do something because you feel it's out of obligation or it's because of what you're supposed to do, but it's not what you want to do?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think there's definitely a balance because sometimes you actually do have responsibilities where it's like you are in charge of like this person or something. Like if you have a kid, like you have a responsibility for that person. But your work is not your kid. So
no.
and there's a lot of things that you aren't actually responsible for.
Now, one of the things that Arthur could have said is like, listen, y'all, if I don't go back and finish this report, someone else is going to have to come in here and redo the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. It could shut you guys
like
down.
it seems like it's a very like easy conversation to have. Like, listen, guys, I'm going to go finish my report and then we can talk about it. But I can't just stay here because they think that I've been fraternizing with Mr. Parnassus, which one hundo. And me staying to live with him would me staying to live with him would confirm.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I don't know why that wasn't mentioned. It seems very clear that that's what, I mean, based off what happens in the rest of the book, I'm like, oh, that seems so obvious that he needed to go back. But I guess he either way, he couldn't commit to coming back to stay at the island. So I guess that would have happened anyway. Like that would have been the conversation.
I thought there was a nice literary technique because as like Linus is leaving, Zoe says, don't you wish things could be different? And then Linus to himself, don't you wish you were here?
I liked how he kept bringing that line back. That was really sweet. He's found his paradise in the island.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it for part 1 of the final episode?
I think so.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bookalicious. If you like this discussion, please rate or subscribe to our channel to help other book lovers find this content as well. If you have any questions or suggestions for future books, we'd love to hear from you at bookalicious.pod@gmail.com. As always, thanks for joining our club.